I'm Trish. Welcome to Trish Talks. So today we're going to make Italian homemade meatballs and tomato sauce. So what I'm going to do is get started on my tomato sauce. I'm going to put my heat on about medium-high. The days of making tomato sauce where it takes hours is just not necessary. I make delicious tomato sauce in 15 minutes. So I cover the pan with olive oil. You know, I kind of just coat it. And so depending on how many cans you're using, I'm using 2 cans today because I'm going to be putting my meatballs in the sauce after I finish baking them. So I've set my oven to 350. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the meatballs. I'm going to bake them in the oven for about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to put them in the tomato sauce, and then I'm going to let them marinate in there, and then it's done, basically. So let's get going with the sauce. I put some salt. Again, I just eye it. It depends how much salt you want. I would say that I use probably about half a teaspoon. I definitely am very generous with pepper. So I probably put a good teaspoon, maybe even 3/4 of a tablespoon. And instead of using fresh garlic, I use garlic powder. And I'm kind of generous with this also. Okay, so if you want to use fresh garlic, certainly use fresh garlic. I like to use garlic powder. Can you see it's starting to turn brown? As soon as it's starting to turn brown, and by the way, the flavors smell delicious, okay? Can you hear that sizzle? That means that the oil was hot enough to fuse all your flavors together. I find that I don't need to put anything else other than those items that I put in. What I like to do is do you see how the olive oil or the oil with all the ingredients is kind of on top? So what I like to do is I like to kind of do a circular motion, coat the top. I'm going to keep this on high because I want it to bubble. I want to reduce it. Okay, so I'm going to cover it with tin foil, and you're going to hear it go crazy, but that's okay. In the meantime, I'm going to make my meatballs. I'm starting out with sirloin meat. I have about a pound, a little bit less than a pound of meat. So I'm going to take off my gloves. And then I'm going to add probably about a cup of breadcrumbs. I would be a little careful on the salt, you know, maybe just like 1/4 of a teaspoon. Pepper. So what I like to do is I like to start with about a pound of sirloin meat. I have about a cup of breadcrumbs. I put a little bit of salt, and I put some pepper. And again, you can put as much pepper as you want. In the meantime, my sauce is boiling away, as you can see. And I want to reduce it, okay? I want to reduce it just for a few minutes and let it kind of do its thing. And then I'm going to put it on simmer, and I'll keep it on simmer. Now, mind you, my sauce really would be done once I finish simmering it. But because the meatballs are going to take about 20 minutes, I'm just going to let it sit on simmer. Okay. I'm going to add some grated cheese, and you know, you can add as much or as little grated cheese as you want. And I'm going to show you my trick for the meatballs, okay? So I'd probably add about a 1/2 cup of grated cheese. I use Pecorino Romano cheese. And now a trick that my grandmother showed me which makes the meatball delicious, is taking Italian bread. Okay, and this is the best Italian bread. So this is a Terranova, and of course I know Terranova is not sold all over the world, so you know, wherever you can get just delicious Italian bread. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a few slices of the Italian bread. I don't know why this keeps doing this. I'm actually gonna put this on low. Right now, because it's kind of already done its thing. My sauce is done. It is completed. And I'll show you it in a few minutes. But right now, I want to soak the bread. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take some slices, probably about 5 slices. And I'm going to remove the outside. You can keep the outside. I mean, it's really up to you on what you want to do, but I don't like the bottoms. So I take the bottoms off and I kind of just keep the top. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to take milk here and I'm going to soak the bread in the milk. Now I'm going to press this down and let it soak up the milk. You might need to add some more milk. You're going to wait until this is like pretty mushy, which doesn't take that long, and it will easily break up with the fork. That's how you know that it's ready. And that's why I'm not adding too much breadcrumb, because I'm doing the bread. And the bread makes such a difference. It just adds this delicious flavor, and I'm just using regular organic milk. And I'm just gonna keep mashing this. I don't want it to become mush, okay? I do not want it to become mush. I want it just to become soft enough that I can blend it, and I actually am gonna put some more. It's better to put less milk and then add milk than the reverse. So, I'm going to add a little bit more milk. And I really love this recipe. And you'll see the bread will just soak it right in. Okay? So I'm going to let that sit for a few minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to put my food preparation gloves on. Everybody that knows me knows that I am a germaphobe when it comes to meat, but I also don't like cross-contamination of any kind, so. And I use my big, huge meatball scooper that I have to make my meatballs. You know, like having to, you know, roll them, you certainly can roll them and make them perfectly round, right? But the point of the matter is that they're going in tomato sauce and you're going to eat them. Okay, so it's okay that they have a flat bottom. Okay, in the meantime, I'm just going to show you my sauce, which is still smells delicious. And what I like to do is I just want to see, make sure you can see. You see how the oil is still here? What I'm going to do is I'm going to do circular motions, and I'm going to blend the oil. And you may have to do this a couple of times, but you're grabbing the oil from the edges. Now again, that oil is delicious, seasoned, marinated olive oil. And whatever seasonings that you choose to use, you know how like when you go to an Italian restaurant and they serve you the focaccia bread? You see how it took away, it infused all of the delicious oil within the sauce and made my sauce even thicker than it was before. You know how you go to the Italian restaurant and they have that delicious focaccia bread, and they give you that delicious oil? Well, that's how they make it. Is you just fuse together all of your ingredients with the olive oil, let it cook, and then cool it off. Okay, so now I'm going to combine my meat with my ingredients, and you're probably saying, this is so dry. Yes, it is. But that's why we're going to add the bread and the milk. And we're also going to add a little bit of olive oil. So my meatballs are out, and I'm gonna put them in my tomato sauce. Look how delicious. Now, of course, some people like to make these raw and then cook them in the sauce by doing a whole meat sauce, but I will do another whole meat sauce where I'm using sausage and brinjal. Okay, now I'm gonna just turn these over and let these soak in the sauce. Okay. Oh, they smell so delicious. And you know what I love is that they're kind of crispy. But once they marinate in the tomato sauce, they will lose that crispiness. But you can eat these just plain, like you can just eat these plain. I mean, they are just so delicious. And I'm going to show you, can you see the bread chunks in there? Where do you taste them? It is just such a difference with the tomato sauce. So now I'm gonna, I made 9, and I used about 3/4 of a pound. So obviously, if you're gonna make more meatballs than this, you would use a bigger pot, you know, a much larger pot, and much more tomato sauce. So, and you can let the sauce cool off. So you're probably gonna let it stay out for about an hour, and then put it in the, and then put it in the refrigerator, or if you get to serve it. Look how delicious. Thank you again, and I'll see you on the next show. Enjoy.